Looking to celebrate fall with some handmade jewelry? In this tutorial, I'll show you how to create stunning maple leaf earrings using Maggie Maggio's watercolor technique and its beautiful torn paper effect. Whether you're new or experienced with polymer clay, this step-by-step guide will walk you through the process. Here's a list of the materials and tools you'll want to have on hand before we get started. Start by placing the black clay on your work surface, then gently lay the white clay on top, making sure to avoid trapping any air bubbles. Once they're stacked, go ahead and trim away any excess clay from the edges to keep everything neat. Then, run the clay through your pasta machine, gradually reducing the thickness one step at a time until you reach setting number 5. It's time for the fun part, painting. So grab your paintbrush and let's dive into the acrylics. I'm kicking things off with some cadmium red to get that bold, rich color started. I like to use a sweeping motion with my paintbrush because it creates a really nice effect on the surface. Next up, we're going to add cadmium yellow to brighten things up. After that, we'll layer on some raw sienna to deepen the tones. And finally, we'll finish with a touch of gold to really make the design pop. These colors just scream fall, don't they? The warm cadmium red and yellow, earthy raw sienna, and that final shimmer of gold really bring out those cozy autumn vibes. It's like capturing the warmth of a sunset, the changing leaves, and a crisp fall day, all in one beautiful design. Now that we've added our acrylic paint, we need to let it fully dry for about 10 minutes or so. Once it's completely dry, we get to move on to the next fun step, adding that gorgeous gold and copper foil leaf. With the acrylic paint completely dry, we're ready to add the beautiful gold and copper foil. I'm starting with the copper foil first. Working with metal leaf can be a bit tricky, but trust me, it's so worth it. I like to tear off small pieces and gently place them on the clay, bit by bit, until I'm happy with how it looks. Wow, it's already looking so beautiful. Now that I'm happy with the copper coverage, it's time to move on to the gold metal leaf. I'll apply it the same way as before, bit by bit, until I'm happy with how it looks. There's just something so warm and beautiful about the mix of gold and copper. It really brings everything to life. How stunning is this? The way the metallics catch the light, combined with those deep, warm colors, really gives it such an elegant feel. My sheet of translucent clay is just a little too small to cover the painted surface. Right now, I've got it rolled to a setting number 4 on my pasta machine, but I'm going to thin it down to a number 8 to make sure everything covers nicely. Even though I've rolled this out to a number 8 on the pasta machine, I still want it a little thinner, so I'm going to gently stretch it by hand until it's the right thickness and size to fully cover our painted clay slab. Now, we're going to carefully lay the translucent clay over our painted surface. Be sure to take your time and smooth it down gently to avoid trapping any air bubbles between the layers. I found that using a sheet of deli paper along with an acrylic rod makes this process so much easier and smoother. I couldn't completely cover the painted slab, but don't worry. We'll simply take a small piece from the bottom and place it over that uncovered section. problem solved. Let's trim the edges of our slab and prepare it for the next step. Next, we'll use a sheet of paper to burnish the surface of the clay. This will help ensure that both layers adhere smoothly and securely. It's pretty common to get a few bubbles trapped between the layers. Just grab a blade and slice into the bubble to let the air out. It's a quick fix. I've run the slab through the pasta machine on setting number 5, and now we're ready for the fun part, tearing it up. Yes, you are literally going to tear up this slab. The contrasting black and white layers will make the tearing texture stand out even more. As you tear the pieces, lay them on your work surface to keep them safe while you continue. Once I tore apart the painted slab, I moved the pieces over to these plastic sheet protectors. They're perfect for keeping everything safe while you work, so you don't have to stress about damaging any of the pieces. Now, grab your scrap clay that's rolled out to a number 3 setting on your pasta machine, and we can start the layering process. With your scrap clay laid out on your work surface, start layering the torn pieces of the painted slab on top. I like to overlap the pieces a bit as I go, but you can be as random or precise as you want. Just have fun with it. Take your acrylic roller and gently roll over the torn clay slab to press everything into place. Let's go ahead and trim the edges of our slab to clean it up and get it ready for the next step. Here's a close-up of the slab before we run it through the pasta machine. You can really see the contrast between the black and white along the torn edges. It creates such a cool effect. Here it is after running it through the pasta machine on a number 3 setting. Place your gold clay on your work surface and carefully start laying the torn clay slab on top. Just be sure to avoid trapping too many bubbles as you go. Go ahead and tidy up the edges to get everything nice and neat before running it through the pasta machine to a setting number 5. I've got a makeup sponge and some Armor All. I like to squirt a little Armor All onto the sponge and then dab my cutter into it. This really helps keep everything from sticking. For this tutorial, I'm using our own Rockrose maple leaf cutters. I'll include a link in the description box if you'd like to grab some for your own projects. Go ahead and start cutting out your maple leaves from the slab. I like to pick out visually interesting sections for my cutouts. It makes for some really cool details. If you've enjoyed this tutorial on the watercolor technique, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to see the creations you make using this method. Now that you've cut out all of your pieces, go ahead and tear away all the scraps. Just remember though, with polymer clay, you never really have scraps. You can always use those leftovers again. And here are the pieces, all ready to be cured in the oven. I just love how they've turned out so far. These are the pieces resined. Aren't they pretty? Now let's grab our jump rings and assemble these beauties. Open a jump ring using pliers by gently twisting the ends away from each other instead of pulling them apart. Then slide the open jump ring through the drilled hole in your clay piece and twist it back to close securely. I love using these gold-plated stainless steel ball posts for my jewelry. They add such a nice touch. I'm really loving these. I like to use comfort backs for my earrings because they help them sit just right in your ear and they feel great to wear. And here they are. They totally make me crave a pumpkin spice latte. These will be a perfect addition to any outfit with their gold backing and flirty movement. If you enjoyed today's tutorial, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. I upload every other Friday, so until next time, follow your passion and keep making.